and member of Life Institute's Board of Directors. Regiane Borsato, Executive Director of Life Institute. Isaac Ramírez Macías, Grupo ARGO and Life Mexico. Davi Alvarez Garcia, Ecoaxa and Life Europe. I'd like to thank all the panelists for being here today. We are honored to have you here to inspire us to move forward. And now I'll pass you on to Braulio Dias for opening remarks.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in this event. And, I'm very passionate about biodiversity, nature. Some people in other meetings have told me that given the climate agenda, we don't need to bother about biodiversity. They will take care of everything. I don't believe that. I think we need a strong biodiversity agenda. And certainly there are important links with climate, both ways. Climate change will impact negatively on biodiversity, and biodiversity is part of the solution to reduce emission of greenhouse gas from land use and to promote adaptation for the new scenarios of climate change. But unfortunately, the agenda on biodiversity doesn't receive the attention it deserves. Everyone is concerned about climate, which is important, but we have many other pressures acting on biodiversity that are not directly linked with the climate agenda, and we need to tackle them. And biodiversity is the agenda where we can promote conservation of biodiversity by different means, public, private, indigenous lands, etc. It's the agenda to promote sustainable use of biodiversity, right, in different ways, and help to incentivize local communities to keep the forest standing, keep the trees standing. And then we have benefit sharing, which was the most innovative component of the Convention on Biological Diversity, and no one knew at the beginning how to implement this commitment of benefit sharing. We're still learning. But I'm happy to see that more and more attention is given to benefit sharing. I have been engaged with the Life Institute since its beginning. I believe that this is a very interesting initiative. And for those that are not aware, the Life Institute works with private companies to help guide them how to be more sustainable towards biodiversity. And this is done by establishing standards for certification of companies to indicate that they are more sustainable. And so the Life Institute has developed a very detailed system to make those assessments. And early on, I had encouraged my colleagues in Curitiba, that's where the Life Institute is based, to think globally, because we need this kind of approach globally. And we know that the business community is more and more engaged with the biodiversity agenda. I'm very happy to see a much greater presence of the business community here at this COP than we ever had before. That is good. But I also hear from many companies why they should engage with the biodiversity agenda, why biodiversity loss matters to them. So those industries and companies dealing directly with the use of biological resources, like in agriculture, forestry, fisheries, aquaculture, or tourism, they understand. But most of the other companies and banks, they don't understand fully. They don't think that without nature, we will have less water, we will have less food security, we will have less options in agriculture to adapt to climate change, we will have less options for new medicines and vaccines, because all of that is produced from biodiversity components. So, and of course, investments towards biodiversity needs to be seen that it has a return, right? So I think there's plenty of opportunity for the business community to further engage with the biodiversity agenda. And you are listening many discussions here at this meeting on this. And we expect ambitious targets to be adopted here at COP15. But then what developing country ask is, will there be increased support for implementation? That's the big question. Funding, capacity building, partnerships, cooperation, etc. Right? So that's the challenge. And who are the ones that use biodiversity components? The business community, right? So the business community really needs to be better engaged with this agenda and be partners in implementation, right? Of course, we also need better public policies, right? So we hope to get from this COP a push for governments to enhance their public policies and the call for more sustainable developments, right? We have Target 15 that is being negotiated here that we still don't have the final wording, but the idea is to call companies to report regularly on their dependencies on biodiversity, and many of them still don't know, and report regularly on their impacts on biodiversity, both the negative impacts and the positive impacts. Because the challenge for the business community is not just to reduce their negative impact on biodiversity. The call for the business community is to also invest on conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of biodiversity. So that's the challenge. And I welcome you all to this meeting and encourage you to learn more about this new initiative that the Life Institute is launching here to better engage the business community. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Braulio, a lot. It's really a pleasure having you here with us in the launch of Life Coalition. And hi, everyone. We are very glad to have you all here in these events of Life Institute. And we are present some information about Life for those who don't know us. And as Braulio said, he and a lot of other persons and companies provoked us to be international. So we will also present some of our efforts in Europe and Latin America with our partners. So Life Institute is really engaged to integrate biodiversity conservation into business model. This is what moves us, because we do believe that maintaining ecosystem services is what ensures the functionality of the operations of the companies. So we believe in the power of influence of private sector, and this is the reason to launch a coalition, engage a lot of companies in this movement to scale up biodiversity conservation through this influence of the leadership of companies and their value chains. We were founded in 2009 as a nonprofit organization, and we work as an international standard setting organization, and we are responsible for methodologies for business and biodiversity and sustainable territorial management. Talking about our talking about being global, we are still headquartered in Brazil, but we already present branches in Europe, Mexico, and Paraguay. So I will present you, I will let them present themselves about how things are going in with the Life Initiative, and so with the Grupo ARGO and Equaxa. Please, David.
Okay, thank you so much. Good to see a lot of people are here, and I try to make you listen all these encouraging messages that we've been hearing during these days, and the encouraged message that Braulio and us. Thank you so much, Braulio, for me here. It's a pleasure and honor to have here on board. So let's tell you about what's our situation in Europe. We've been working with Life Europe, I guess, more than 5 years probably. And since we have for the first time live Europe methodology, live methodology, we always thought that it should be have an international recognition, as Braulio mentioned. So we put all our efforts to make the adaptation for this methodology to the Europe ecosystems. And when I say ecosystems, it's not only about the ecosystem, but all the country ecosystem. So now the life methodology could be applicable for all countries in Europe. It's not only about the application of the life methodologies, it's also about to raise awareness, and it's about to be aware of all the different initiatives across the world regarding measuring biodiversity. And that's one of the other roles that we are having in Europe, to be very in touch of the different initiatives or current initiatives for measuring biodiversity, in order to be aligned to all these metrics, initiatives, and so on. As a matter of fact, we are part of the Align team, which is one of the largest working groups in Europe to work for aligning measures on biodiversity, and to find the linkages among these initiative and our initiative. And Braulio mentioned also another really important point, which is the target 15, which is very much discussed. As you mentioned, there are no, we don't have the final sentences on how target 15 it's going to look like in the future. But he mentioned three key important topics: negative impacts, dependencies, and positive impacts. And all these topics are assessed in certain way by the life methodology. So I encourage you to have a look on our website and go through the methodologies, and to see how can life methodologies in Brazil, Latin America, and Europe can help you to integrate biodiversity within your businesses.
Thank you, David. It's really a pleasure working with you all these 5 years, and we hope engage a lot of more companies in Europe with life methodology. I ask Isaac to present himself.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I am honored to be part of the LIFE's delegation here to present, to launch this coalition. And like 3 years ago, I watched a video of the methodology, and I immediately knew that I wanted to be part of that. And here, with all my team in Mexico, we began to adapt the methodology to Mexico. And we also are working in the other certification about territory. So from that day 3 years ago to now, we are ready to gain companies to apply the methodology in Mexico, and it is open also to other countries in Latin America. So I am very happy to be here and being part of this launching, and I am sure that you will find this methodology as one of the best solutions to finally get ready to relate business with conservation. Thank you very much. I am in that in that email open to receive all your questions.
Thank you, Isaac. Life has been participating of the COP since 2010 in Japan. And as they said, we are really glad to see how business engagement is improving, and mainly with this very, very important target of GBF, target 15. We do think that life methodology has some important technical solutions so companies can really measure what is being nature positive, as we are discussing a lot at this point, to communicate and measure its biodiversity pressures, and also the relations about dependencies and risks. So we are proud to have some companies that will present this information here. So we thank you to be here with us, and we will change the panelists, inviting Mauricio from CPEC company, that is a provider of a Boticário group, because we do think that they have a very, very beautiful experience with the life agenda in Brazil. And also Flavio Goulart, please, from JTI. They are both of companies that apply life methodology for some years. And talking about life as a benefit for business, we think that they have very good examples of what kind of application of life methodology by companies that the members of the coalition believe that can really scale up biodiversity. So they are examples of the kind of actions that the coalition wants to improve. So Mauricio, thanks a lot.
Good afternoon. How I have only 5 minutes, I need to read don't forget anything. I'm excited to be here with all of you. And I like tell you about a little bit how we strive to integrate biodiversity into our business practice at CPAC. Thank you. CPAC is an industrial company in the field of plastic packaging for the cosmetic market. As a leader in Latin America, we have always invested in innovative products and process with a focus on sustainability. Here, I'm sorry, as this tube, this packaging that I show you, it's one case, a type of packaging we make from green PE that comes from sugarcane. And nowadays, 30% of our production is made of using this raw material. Okay, how important is to integrate biodiversity in our business? With 20 years of experience, we have invested heavily in a business model focused on the future of the company and its growth, but above all, a possible future where our activity and our products do not harm people or the environment, a future with social and environment responsibility. With this vision, we continually work on the development of 100% recyclable products using renewable raw material and services that facilitate the circular economy. In all of this, we involve our employees, our supply chain, and our community. However, at a certain point, we realized that it still wasn't enough. So we decided that we had to do something more direct, more concrete to preserve biodiversity. But in order to do that, we would need a way to measure that could show us our impact on biodiversity. That's when we found the LIFE methodology. What was the motivation for obtaining LIFE certification? First, scientific guidance for understanding the impact of our business. A smarter targeting of positive preservation actions, and better understanding of our position as demanders of natural resources. What are our benefits in LIFE using and applying the LIFE certification for business? Our benefits were many, but the most important thing was the fact that we brought the subject biodiversity to the center of the table. The engagement of our employees and their families, as well as the fact that we have transformed our institutional positioning into an example for our employees, suppliers, customers, and the society around us. This slide shows the step of our step by step of our journey to certifying LIFE, but 2 points: measuring the pressure activities, that we know our repression, and defining a biodiversity project to offset the pressure was the most important point. And this project we will show you in one video in the end. That's this presentation. Okay, some results, but the best result is this one that we are really proud. Nature reaction, the reappearance of a threatened species. One of the greatest results of our project was the reappearance of Commelina catarinensis, a rare herbaceous plant exclusive to the dunes of the coast of Santa Catarina, which had not been seen since the 70s, being until now registered only in the municipalities of Palhoça and Laguna, Brazil, Santa Catarina. In last year, a small population of individuals was found in the area where the CPEC Conserva project was carried out with the control action of the invasive exotic pine species. That is our project. To finish, as a LIFE certified company, CPEC recognized the role of the LIFE Coalition for the global leverage of biodiversity conservation actions. We congratulate the organizations that are participating in this leadership. I'd like to show you a small video now about our project.
É assim que a vida acontece, sem a gente se dar conta, sem precisar se esconder, sem parar. Mas para a vida continuar exuberante, é preciso fazer a nossa parte e abrir caminhos para novas possibilidades. Uma iniciativa conjunta e coordenada. A missão é garantir a proteção de espécies nativas e animais silvestres que vivem na floresta da Serra do Tabuleiro. Para isso, precisamos controlar o avanço do pinus em áreas de preservação. A cultura do pinus no Brasil e em muitos países ocupa um lugar importante nas cadeias de produção da madeira para várias aplicações e também na cadeia do papel e celulose. É o maior substituto de madeira nativa e seu cultivo em áreas de reflorestamento é um dos grandes eixos da economia em Santa Catarina. Porém, quando encontrado em áreas de preservação, por ser uma espécie de árvore exótica, demanda um constante trabalho de manejo e extração. para evitar o ressecamento do solo e alterações na qualidade dos mananciais de água. Assim, é possível frear a sobreposição do pinus à vegetação natural, garantindo a entrada de luminosidade, essencial para o desenvolvimento da vida.
O Parque Estadual da Serra do Tabuleiro é um parque muito grande. São 8 municípios e aproximadamente 84 mil hectares. Pensando nisso, a CEPAC e os outros órgãos, envolvidos na gestão do parque, o Instituto do Meio Ambiente, a ONG Saracura, entraram em discussão de quais seriam as ações interessantes e prioritárias para o Parque Estadual da Serra do Tabuleiro. Dentre essas ações, o corte de pinos, uma região prioritária na Baixada do Maciambu, foi a escolhida como prioritária e principal a ser executada no projeto CEPAC Conserva.
A nossa missão é impulsionar a biodiversidade na Serra do Tabuleiro. E se o trabalho de controlar essa espécie é prioridade, então é preciso de uma ajuda extra.
Essa área abriga uma diversidade de fauna e flora riquíssima. A gente tem mais de 200 espécies de aves, a gente tem mais de 500 espécies de plantas, a gente tem uma diversidade aí de em torno de 40 espécies de mamíferos. Essa área também é considerada um monumento geológico internacional. Então, a ação de hoje ela vai ao encontro da recuperação, da restauração e da conservação dessa área.
Para enxergarmos o futuro, precisamos olhar para o presente, agir com foco e entusiasmo.
É assim, triste ver uma floresta dessa aqui pegando fogo, né? Ou então sendo degradada por uma espécie invasora, que, vamos dizer, não é culpa de ninguém, a natureza tem dessas coisas, né? Ela se renova, ela disputa o seu lugar, né? E o nosso papel agora é também dar uma mãozinha para a natureza, para ela poder reconquistar um pouco desse espaço que foi degradado pelo fogo e pela espécie invasora.
Vamos juntos formar mais consciência. O Parque Estadual da Serra do Tabuleiro pode contar com a gente.
Nowadays we have on the 30 year on this project, and our target is make this project in 100 hectares in next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio, very much for your presentation, and congratulations for your beautiful work with conservation. So Mauricio, CEO of CEPAC, just remembering that they are a supplier of Boticário Group, that is one of the companies that is launching the Life Coalition. And this is very interesting because it also shows that Boticário is not only committed with life methodology, but also already engaging the supply chain into this agenda. So thank you very much, Mauricio. And we invite Flavio Goulart, the Corporate Affairs Director at JTI, to present their experience with life methodology in the last 6 years.
So we will discuss now JTI, the Japan Tobacco International case. JTI is linked to the agribusiness sector, so our supply chain depends directly on environmental services and biodiversity. This is why it is truly important to that we keep on producing, but we have to be aware that we produce really close to hotspot areas, and we need to address some actions to avoid or to at least minimize our impacts. We have used life methodology for 6 years, and we have learned a lot with this. So we we think that learning on our impacts it's on biodiversity is crucial to our operation, not only our in-fence operations, but also addressing the target 15 as we exposed last Saturday, because again, we depend on environmental services. So addressing this for our supply chain was really interesting. And there you can see that during this process in 5 years, we mapped more than 10,000 integrated farmers in the 3 southern states of Brazil. So what we do here in this mapping allowed us to map the opportunities, plan the strategies, and implementing strategic actions in partnership with strategic partners. And as an example, we have here the restoration of 335 hectares of permanent protection areas in small holding farms and also public areas on public parks, which was quite interesting to learn about it. But not only learning about biodiversity, but we can also measure the impacts of these actions through the LifeKey platform. And then doing that, we use these points of conservation to help us to understand our impacts and also sum to our own actions. So we have this balance, measuring all we do positively and offsetting part of our impacts in our supply chain. This was also important because all these actions were pilots for maybe more daring actions by scaling up these actions and also providing an example to other sectors, as we will learn later. So it is a constant balance on what we do inside our fences and outside our fences, impacting and influencing our supply chain. So basically, the results give us parameters to plan, implement, and also define strategies to address all our impacts and maximize our positive impacts. Now we are even considering the possibility of certifying our operations based on the scores that we have achieved. This is something really interesting, even to address some risks that we face in our business. And of course, keep on implementing and driving assertive conservation initiatives. So summarizing, by understanding and monitoring JTI supply chain, the pressure on biodiversity allows us to define the strategy for biodiversity conservation. Through the LIFE methodology, JTI is measuring these actions and the biodiversity balance between positive and negative impacts, so we can evaluate the biodiversity risks and define better strategies and implementation of assertive actions. This strategy is translated into focused actions, programs, and partnerships, reflecting into the business results in the companies and also influenciating our supply chain. That's our commitment. And as we will learn later, we can only learn more, influentiate our sector, influentiate the agribusiness, but what we face now is also an opportunity of comparing our results to other sectors, other scales, as we will discuss later today. Thank you for your attention.
And in the end, I think we will have the opportunity for addressing some questions.
Thank you, Flavio. Very beautiful work also. And just reinforcing again that we have 2 cases of supply chain, very different cases, but Mauricio of CIPAC presented an important effort of biodiversity conservation, not only as CIPAC, but also as a supplier of Boticário, so the supply chain of the Boticário group. And JTI doing these measurements of the pressure on biodiversity of 100% of the integrated farmers, more than 10,000 farmers being evaluated, and all this pressure measured using the LifeKey platform, and then to understand if the compensation is being enough to be called a nature positive company. Thank you a lot. And then now we are going for the most important part of this event, the third and the last one, that is the launch of Life Coalition. So Flavio will be here because they are not engaged in life methodology for some years, but they are also part of this coalition. And we invite Malu Nunes to be with us, the executive director of a Boticário Foundation Group, and Alexandre, CEO of Permian, Brazil. Remembering that there is another company that is with he is joining us remotely, that is Ariel Scheffer, the environmental management superintendent at Itaipu Binacional. Thank you for being here. So Malu, please.
Good afternoon. No, I don't have slides. It's an honor to be here at this important conference representing the Boticário Group and Boticário Group Foundation. And I would like to thank CBD and Life for the invite and for organize this event. The history of Boticário Group started in 1977 with a small pharmacy of natural products, owned and running by its founder, Miguel Krisner. The business has grown and today operates 2 industrial hubs, owns 14 companies, and it's the 7th most sustainable beauty company in the world. Biodiversity conservation has always been relevant to our business and part of our business, especially since 1990, when the foundation, Boticário Group Foundation was created. Since then, Boticário Group directs 1% of its net revenue for social private investment, which includes the foundation initiatives, among other social environmental projects. Boticário Group Foundation is one of the main corporate foundations in Brazil, working 100% to protect nature and biodiversity. So the foundation develops and finances solutions to measure environment, social, and economic challenges by bringing together different players and mechanisms. It also strengthens biodiversity conservation at the corporate and political levels, which is very hard and important at the same time. Boticário Group believes that nature in balance is indispensable to guarantee life, social and economic development, and also that the private sector has a role to play in it. Therefore, over 12 years ago, we united some partners and founded Life Institute to leverage biodiversity conservation within business at global level, as Braulio explained very well at the beginning. And now we are here to go further by launching the Life Coalition for Business and Biodiversity. As we all know, and we had two wonderful examples here, the path of integrating biodiversity with businesses is a non-ending challenge. That's why in 2021, Boticário Group launched new commitments for the future, focused on nature conservation. To give you just one example, one of these commitments aims to better manage through nature conservation, the natural capital that is critical for the business longevity. This includes mapping the natural capital, measuring our impacts, and implementing conservation strategies to address challenges that go beyond our operations and supply chain. The life, I have to highlight the life here. The life matrix of impacts and dependencies on biodiversity and ecosystem services was the crucial tool to accomplish these steps. It was also fundamental in engaging, in convincing all the stakeholders within the process. Grupo Boticário CEO Fernando Modé always says that we have to work together to change the reality. And in this process, the only impact we accept is the positive one. So we are proud to be here to confirm our endorsement to the Life Coalition, and also to invite you all to adopt biodiversity conservation in your business models for their own good and for society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Malu, very much. So we are proud to invite Ariel from Itaipu to talk about their engagement also with Life Coalition.
Pleasure to be here with you, and I'd like to thank the CDB and also Life for the invitation. I also don't have a presentation, but what I would like to say that we are very happy to be part of this coalition, this coalition for business and biodiversity. And I would like to just to talk a little bit about Itaipu. Itaipu is a hydropower plant. It's one of the biggest one in the world. It's the biggest producer, single producer of hydropower energy, and that supplies energy to 90% of the energy consumed in Paraguay and 10% of the electricity produced in Brazil, consumed in Brazil. So it's a very big company with a very strong need and dependence on the water security. And water security, we cannot dissociate from environmental security. So when we start with Life, many years ago, since the beginning of the implementation of the Life methodology, we evolved a lot, measuring our actions and our results, and also we could see our performance and how we could improve in biodiversity conservation. And it's even a bigger pleasure to see that we evolved in a partnership with Life when we start working in a territorial approach, because as we need water security, and water security doesn't come only in our borders, in our the company's territory. We have to start working with in a regional scale. And Life is helping us with international standard for sustainable territorial management to developing this tool. We developed this tool and we are implementing this in Brazil and Paraguay, as we are a binational company. So we are involving now a new methodology that is going to measure biodiversity performance of companies, but not only biodiversity, many other companies, more than 170 indicators for territorial management, sustainable territorial management. But we are very happy to see that we can now show our performance and also improve our performance in biodiversity conservation. And we could show our partners and our stakeholders the importance of being engaged in biodiversity conservation. And also, I think the coalition is going to be a next step for even involving more people, more companies, and more partners in our effort. It's going to help a lot our territorial approach also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ariel. It's a pleasure for Life being partner of a company as Itaipu. We've been learning a lot with you all. So you will invite now. Sorry, I think I needed to wait a little bit to change the presentation. But we will invite Flavio again now as a partner and being partner in the launch of Life Coalition.
Well, thank you for for your attention again. I think for most of the businesses, when we talk about biodiversity, it's quite an ethereal concept. People normally imagine a bird on a tree or a forest, but they do not capture the essence of biodiversity, because everything we do causes an impact, and this impact can also be positive. So this is crucial to continue driving our business to sustainability. If we want to conduct our businesses in 50, 100 years, we depend directly on biodiversity. And then we need to understand that businesses can and must contribute to it. But how? So we need to make it tangible. And making it tangible needs measurement. So that's what we did. We started measuring our impacts on our supply chain, on our inside fences operations, and we have learned a lot, as I declared before. So we made it tangible, and this is really interesting. And what we do, what we measure, it's easy, something that we do on our day-to-day basis. The consumption of water, energy, the waste generation, land occupation, and our carbon footprint. And by addressing these impacts, reducing the negative impacts, and also mitigating some other risks, and even contributing to our communities or our supply chain, can leverage our impacts, our positive impacts. So what we have learned in 6 years now is that we do have an impact, and then we can improve it. And now I'm sitting here with my partners in a historical moment, because we not only have the opportunity of measuring our impact, but by the coalition, we will have an opportunity of benchmarking and comparing our impacts to other sectors, other companies in different scales, in different, because this methodology is applicable to any scale, any business that we can measure. Everyone has an impact. By measuring it, we can also provide examples of best practices, learning more, implementing different actions that we had never thought about. That's the opportunity that I wanted to share, and I'm really proud of being here as part of this launch of this coalition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Flavio. It's also a pleasure work with you in these engagements of the JTI with the supply chain. Really is very, very impressive. and with the biodiversity at all. It's very important that a tobacco company understand this kind of impact in the supply chain. So we're very glad to invite Alice, that has been working and is part of the life development since the beginning. And now she's talking as the CEO of Permian Brazil, as partner in the Life Coalition.
So good afternoon to you all. Don't go home. Stay here with me. I'm the last one to talk today. So my name is Alice. I'm the CEO for Permian Brazil. Permian Brazil is a subsidiary of Permian Global. Before, I worked for the Life Institute for 12 years. So it's a great pleasure to be here, not on by being executive director of Life, but being a partner. You know, Permian is a science-based mission-led business working on the protection and regeneration of tropical forests and their diversity of species. We develop large-scale, long-term forest carbon projects in Indonesia, Malaysia, Peru, Colombia, and Brazil, which those projects are certified against the leading international standards and financed by high-quality carbon credits generated by the Forest Protection, REDD+ projects. Our vision is a worldwide where climate change is no longer a threat, where nature and people can thrive. We see forests as one of the best technologies available today to help us to achieve this. Beyond climate mitigation, our projects are working to reduce atmospheric carbon dioxide levels by protecting habitats, to safeguard biodiversity and support sustainable local economies and well-being. Through certifications such as CCB and the Life certification, Permian is generating the most scientifically credible premium carbon credits with a triple gold verification standard. Part of what this means is that our projects must demonstrate net positive impact on biodiversity in the project zone. This gold level exceptional biodiversity benefits criterion identifies projects that conserve biodiversity at sites of global significance for biodiversity conservation. We found in the Life methodology a high level of consistency to demonstrate our project's positive impact on biodiversity conservation. And by the way, as we developed this for so many years, I knew that could help in the new job I'm doing today. That's why we decided to take a leading role on biodiversity conservation agenda by joining the Life Coalition. We would also like to invite you or more companies that are here today willing to perform concrete biodiversity conservation actions to join first with us in the Life Coalition for Business and Biodiversity. We have to have many people signing it, many people adhering this coalition. Now, I'll leave you with a slideshow from one of our projects in the Amazon region. You will be able to see by yourselves the abundance of biodiversity in this remote area in Amazon, which were extremely impacted by fires and invasion 2 years ago before we started our project there. So enjoy it. Thank you.
So thank you, Alice, very much. And thank you all. We are so officially launching the Life Coalition for Business and Biodiversity. You are all invited to be part of it. We have the QR codes that you can fill the form and we'll be in contact with you. So please take a look at this information. You have in the other walls also these QR codes.
In today's world, business management has been facing many complex challenges. Over half of the global economy is dependent on natural resources. Innovative companies are ensuring their longevity through the conservation of ecosystems necessary for business operations and all life on the planet. This is why the Life Coalition for Business and Biodiversity was envisioned. The Life Coalition gathers leaders committed to accelerating the integration of biodiversity into business models through concrete actions and transformative solutions developed by the Life Institute. Engage in this groundbreaking movement that adds value to your business and builds a positive legacy. Your company becomes a key ambassador of the transformation of business models, adding biodiversity as a fundamental step in the ESG agenda. Join us and be part of the Life Coalition, a visionary leaders initiative that connects business and biodiversity.
Okay, here we are. Thank you a lot. And we are available for any other issue. I think we have still some time, so feel free if you want to ask some or anything to the panelists. Thank you a lot.